What's happening, everybody? It's PLD.
And I'm Richard Eric Jarvi. Welcome to Class Action, the classiest movie show on the interwebs. Thank you for letting me do my intro.
I didn't do it last week. I figured I'd let you do it this week. Are we the classiest, though? Really, the class? Well, maybe. You might be the classiest. I'd never been saddled with that term, so I don't know how that works for me.
We
But
tried.
We'll let you say. I do try. That's true. I do try. Well, Class Action, we are on the Action Industries YouTube channel, home of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy, all things Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy, and we thank them for their little space here to do this little show. And we salute you, of course. And of course, on Class Action, what we do every week is we take up two opponents and put them up against each other in a battle to the death. With five custom-made categories, we figure out which one really has what it takes. And this week is a doozy.
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
It's quite a big one.
You want to tell them? Why don't you go ahead?
Nah, we'll just let them guess. We're doing Harry Potter versus the Middle... Well, actually, we're doing the Wizarding World versus the Middle-earth franchise.
That's right. The entire thing, the live-action version. We're not talking the cartoons from Lord of the Rings or anything like that. Not talking any Pottermore stuff or anything like that you guys go with on that. Is the live-action 6-film series so far of the Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson ones. And, of course, the live-action Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts saga. Now, of course, the Fantastic Beasts saga is not quite over yet. So that might come into play. Maybe we'll have to see. But I'm looking forward to this. This has been a big one for me for a while. I've been kind of waiting to do this. And it just seemed like the right time. I don't know why. It just seemed like we were struggling a little bit to find out what we wanted to do. We said, you know what? Let's just do this big one. And I know that a lot of our fans, like our watchers, have already talked about it. I mentioned this, and they were very excited about it. Almost as excited as you, I think.
It's a big topic. I think it's been an ongoing thing for since both movies or both franchises were out. Like, what is better? Which is the better one?
Which one do you watch more?
Our decision is going to be the decider.
That's right.
This means everything.
Do you know who else this has made me excited? This also made my wife Kim DiNuzzo excited because for the first time she's actually going to watch my show. She loves me dearly, but this is actually, she's not very much a movie person, but she loves these franchises as much as we do. If there's three franchises we watch all the time in this household, it's Star Wars, it's Lord of the Rings, it's Harry Potter. So when I said we were doing Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, she actually got a sparkle in her eye I haven't seen since the day we met, I think. Maybe when our children were born, maybe, but either way, she's very excited. She's looking at me right now like I'm nuts, but that's I'm used to that, but it's okay. So, but we will see her a little bit because she has a specific role. Let's get nuts. She does have a specific role to play, as you've noticed, as we've seen a couple times before with our guests. We've had lucky to have some very special guests over the time. But why don't you talk about that, Jarvi? What do we do? Why is she going to be here? Because we do games.
She's going to be giving us. Well, yeah, we're doing. We might be doing some reviews this week. We're not doing reviews. We're just going to do some games with you. One of the regulars that we've had is off the cuff called the Public Defender. Now, what is the Public Defender, Paul? Every time you explain to the good people, so go ahead. All right, I'll tell you what the Public Defender is. Well, actually, it's a bit different today.
A little bit.
So usually we do. Well, it's an off the cuff list. We don't know the topic. Pretty much like it could be. Say your 5 favorite scenes from Lord of the Rings. And me and Paul, we won't know the topic. Kim at the moment knows it. She will be giving it to us soon. But this week we thought that, wow, I'm really missing this.
That's
okay, having some connectivity stuff. Sorry, can you see me?
Good. You're good.
Oh, wow, because my computer totally froze.
Oh, you're okay. I can see you. We're all good.
Anyway, the point is that we like to give us these off the cuff things so we would panic and give us give some weird choices like we did top 5 aliens in movies like with Danny, I think it was, right?
Correct.
And I totally panicked and I said Mars Attacks, which is like the stupid friggin' alien. But there you go.
That's true.
So this week,
it's named Public Defender because it's our little running
yeah,
joke.
I try to not
You
talk
tried.
about that.
Class action. You tried. I'm going to do it anyway because we call ourselves class action. Obviously, where we have this joking riff on law terms and stuff. And a public defender in every movie is always the one who's always overworked, underpaid, and probably ill prepared. I really don't mean anything badly to the real public defenders in life. They do a very stressful job and everything else. But as far as the movie goes, that's how it goes. So when we have the public defender, it means we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what's coming, and we just have to shoot from the hip, so to speak. So Kim is going to be giving us a list this week, or a list of a topic that we have to really think about and come up with some crazy adventures with. But we'll get there because we have one other game we have to play first. And it's my favorite game, the game that we like to play every week. And Jarvi is always so prepared with it. He does.
I remember it.
He every week he comes on. We pregame and he's like, "Oh yeah, and that's where we go." And then all of a sudden the game comes up and we see if he's actually had the time to think about it. But that game is, what would Ed Harris play? Ed Harris being my favorite actor of all time, always never nails in a performance, always makes a movie better. So we decide we're going to throw him into these movies, these franchises. You can write in new characters for them, or you can recast a role with Ed Harris to see what would work better. I have one character for Lord of the Rings and two possible characters for Harry Potter. And I'm assuming you want me to go first because you're still thinking.
Actually, like, interestingly enough, I remembered right before we went live, so I've got my picks.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll let you go first.
Okay, I'll go first then. I'll go first. For Harry Potter, so first off, I should say I would, even if that was the case that I could replace someone with a Harris, in this case, I wouldn't. But if I had to, because that character it's perfectly cast, and it would completely change the character, but I think it will still work. So I would cast Ed Harris as Professor McGonagall instead of Maggie Smith. I think he has this very, like, Professor McGonagall at first, she was this very, like, stern. You didn't know that she had so much love for Harry, and, like, it came out eventually. But at first she had this very stern look. She was this very stern professor, almost cold, calculated. I think Ed Harris would be perfect for that. And then throughout the franchise, start warming up, and then eventually she's this, like, sweet grandma that we all love her as. Well, have Ed Harris as the grandpa in that case.
But it still kicks ass in the battle of the final battle.
Absolutely. Like when Maggie Smith goes, I can't remember the incantation or what she says when they're prepping Hogwarts,
Oh,
like,
right.
Something thoughts them and they fall down, and then Ed Harris would go, I always wanted to do that.
That would be very cool. Okay, I'll do my Harry Potter then. I'll shoot to your Lord of the Rings. My Harry Potter. I have actually two choices I would make here. I could see in either role, and I'm gonna, since it's my show.
Let me guess what one is.
Go ahead.
Did you cast him as Sirius?
I did not. I actually cast him in two minor roles. Minor roles, but I thought he'd do a good job with them. I want to cast him either as Rufus Scrimgeour, the Minister of Magic, and the seventh one, played by
Bill Nighy.
Yes, Bill Nighy. Very regal-looking guy, very tall, authoritative person, and he doesn't have much to do. But he lands such gravity to the role that I think.
Oh my God, I have a perfect one. You go. Okay. Sorry.
The other one I want to throw him in there as, I'd like to see him go nuts, really nuts. Fenrir Greyback, the werewolf.
Was that a villain?
Yes, the one who scratched up the older brother, Bill Weasley. And he was in the battle. Yeah. So I like him in that too. I just want to see him go nuts. That's all. He goes angry. So.
I would have guessed that you'd cast him as not Luna Lovegood, but Luna Lovegood's father with the white hair, the long white hair.
Oh, like the
like
the
he
old,
was in. Yeah, that's the
one. From Sweetwater. Yeah, that's actually not a bad choice either. I kind of like that one too. All right.
I can only imagine Kim's backstage, like, they can't remember any of the spells, the names. They're messing this up. Oh my God.
She's totally gonna kick our ass later on, but that's okay. That's what she's there for. She's to keep us honest. All right. So let's do Lord of the Rings. Let's do Lord of the Rings then. Do you have one for Lord of the Rings?
I've got one for Lord of the Rings, and it's actually in the Hobbit movies.
Oh,
and I'd have Ed Harris as, and I wouldn't have it as motion capture. I would have him with prosthetics as the pale orc.
Oh,
I do
okay.
like the character, but I think it's too CGI written. Like I loved Lurtz and all these, Uruk-hai that they had in Lord of the Rings movies. They were so real, so like dirty and almost like disgusting looking, but they worked. And I'd have Ed Harris as this white pale orc, and he would nail that role. I'm pretty sure.
Sweet. Sweet. I like that too. I kind of like that too. Now I'm going to admit something to you. I cheated a little bit on this one only because a long time ago, Ben and Drew did a watch along on Fellowship of the Ring. And I threw this in there during the Fellowship of the Ring, during Fellowship of the Ring, even though the character's not in Fellowship of the Ring. And I remember thinking about that. I've thought about it ever since. I thought it would be a perfect role for Ed Harris. I'm putting Ed Harris as Theoden King.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Those big speeches. Oh, I think he would be so great in that role.
Yep.
It's so perfectly. It's almost like a military role, and we love him in the military. With him as that royal liege character, and he gives the great speech there at the end. Oh,
yeah, and when he's standing in on like top of Helm's Deep, he's going like,
right,
"We're up here, you're down there. You walked into the wrong goddamn castle.
You walked to the wrong goddamn fields, Commander." Perfect. I love it. It'd be
It needs to happen every time.
Theoden Hummel.
General Theoden.
General Theoden Hummel. There you go. Perfect.
Ex-Francis Theoden.
God, we're actually being a little sacrilegious, but I'll take it because I love Hummel. So, all right, you know what? It's time now. Let's go on to our public defender. We get to bring in my beautiful wife, the better half, the better DiNuzzo, as some of the generals say. You know her, you love her. Kim DiNuzzo, how are you, baby?
I'm doing good. Good show so far, guys.
It's been a wreck.
Pure
It's been a wreck so
totem.
far.
No,
What was that?
it's Pure Totem Locomotor.
That's the
yep,
one.
That's the one. It's got a fact check us every time.
And Luna Lovegood's father's name?
Xenophilus.
Well, okay. You got to give me credit. That's like impossible to remember.
All right.
I've already forgotten it.
I get it. Well, Kim has come up with something. We decided we put a little precursor on her this week. We usually just throw top whatever, but this week we decided because we love the adventures of all these characters, we told Kim to come up with. We're going to pick a party of adventurers between the two franchises. We can mix and match, Frodo and Harry, or Sam and whoever you want. Ron, thank you. I just blamed for that. We can have any connection we want. We wanted a job for them to do, some kind of something to achieve. What do we have to keep these adventures together, put them on the adventure? What are they trying to achieve? And Kim said she's going to come up with something, and she said she's going to come up with a doozy. I'm a little worried. I'm a little scared because she's very good at throwing me loops, throwing me off the rails here. So I guess I'm trying to stall now because I'm a little scared. But without further ado, Kim, what are we putting these adventures? What trail are we putting these adventures on? What are we trying to do here?
Okay, so it's a little relevant to today's times, but also not so much.
Okay.
Okay. COVID-19 has ravaged both Middle Earth and the Harry Potter Wizarding World.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to merge the worlds together into the Wizarding World, go back in time to the era of Catherine the Great in Russia, and get the vaccine for COVID-19 from Catherine the Great, who is a very witty and cunning and charming woman who likes to take lovers.
I need to write this down.
I know. I told you, it's a doozy. The vaccine is protected by her baby dragon and a code that only she knows.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me just say this. I love her.
This is
Ooh.
definitely this is the most in-depth thing we've ever tried to do on this show.
Yep.
Um,
Lover. What was the other obstacle? Like
a
Catherine.
dragon. With a dragon. Right?
Yeah.
A dragon.
Dragon. All right.
Code. Time travel.
Steal vaccine. Time travel. Okay, these are the words that I need to.
Okay, and we have.
And you don't necessarily have to steal it. You could charm it out of her.
See, that's why we need more women on our show. We're like, steal, rob. True. There are other ways.
That's why I gave you her personality traits.
Oh, God.
Cunning, witty, likes to take lovers.
That's because Kim is watching The Great, by the way. She's watching the show about the cat and The Great, so she's impressed with it. And this is why this is coming out. I should have known that she was going to put something like this together.
This is so cool, though.
Okay. Why don't we say 5? Can we say 5 adventures? Why don't we say that? How about that? Can we do 5 adventures?
Fine.
Maybe we can try 7. Oh, yeah, we'll see.
It's only because we have a little bit of limited time. We still have to get into the whole new thing. So why would we do 5 adventures? It's going to be an in-depth thing. All right.
I've got one. I've got the first one.
I heard one too.
I think we have the same one because the first off, I would think we need someone with time traveling capabilities, and of course, I would go with Hermione.
Not only does she have time travel capabilities,
and also she's like the smartest.
Historical knowege, like know, she knows about Catherine the Great. She could probably know a lot of it. So got to go with Hermione.
And she knows a lot about dental hygiene, which is always important.
Always important, especially when you're trying to charm someone. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're done. I think we both go with that. We're going to go with Hermione first.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charm.
Hermione, Hermione was my first too.
Hermione was your
first. Hermione was my first too.
Okay. You can play along. You can tell us what we had. Okay. So our second one. Let's come up with this together. Now, second one.
Someone to charm her. I think I have one. I think I would like to have Boromir, Sean Bean.
Oh, that's a good choice. I was thinking same line.
Give them a moment, for pity's sake.
I was thinking maybe Legolas.
But he's too like
haughty, you think? You think he's too haughty, maybe?
He's too, sort of.
You're right.
He's like your. I don't know. I feel like Sean Bean is like manlier, rougher, sort of.
Or you think Catherine the Great wants somebody rougher and rough and tumble?
Yeah. Okay. I think she's Russian, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
all right, I'll go with that.
She's a Russian woman. She wants a man, with a stern hand.
Okay, we'll go Sean. I'll go Boromir. Okay, I'll go with that. You convince me of that. All right. Let's see what else. We do. I think we got to have a wizard, right?
We do need someone.
We need like an older man, like a really powerful person to be able to charm to blast the dragon if we have to. We don't want to.
You want to do what to the dragon?
Blast the hell out of it if we have to. I think you got to go Gandalf there, right? You got to have Gandalf in there. It's like someone who can at least, you shall not pass till I get my freaking code from the dragon.
I've got a better one for you.
Okay.
I've got a better one for you. You need someone to trick the dragon, not to fight the dragon. You need someone who's light on their feet, quick on their wits, someone who can sneak around.
You talking Bilbo?
We need Bilbo.
Bilbo. Well, Bilbo, he's already done. He's already snuck by a dragon before. That's what I mean. Bad point. That's not a bad point.
And he has the ring, the all-powerful ring, and he has Sting as well.
Well, okay.
Nope.
Oh boy.
You're both wrong.
I love when she says this. I hear this all the time, but
you're both wrong.
Okay.
You need Hagrid.
You need Hagrid.
Yes, you need Hagrid.
Hagrid can charm the dragon.
Yes.
That's very true.
Also could feed the dragon.
Also could feed the dragon, charm the dragon.
Distract the dragon.
I mean,
sacrifice Hagrid.
I thought that Hagrid could feed the dragon like the dragon would eat him.
No.
Okay.
No, he would distract the dragon.
Okay. I know that's very true. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. See, this is why off the cuff is so off the cuff.
But no, that's our list. We need to we need to come up with these.
That's true.
Weird choices, not the smartest choices.
All right.
Okay, so who do we pick? We've got
Hermione,
Boromir, Hermione.
Bilbo.
Do we go with Bilbo or not?
We went with Bilbo. Kim went with Hagrid. We didn't think of Hagrid, so I don't know if we can.
Hagrid's Kim's choice.
Yeah, and I like that choice.
Okay.
So
I
now
still
you.
gotta go. I still gotta
because
go. I'm gonna go Gandalf still. We gotta have somebody who can do anything. He can almost do anything he needs to do to like get the situation under control. And he's kind of a charmer too. He's kind of got this authoritative voice about him. And I think if we're not going to have Hagrid take care of the dragon, if Bilbo screws up, then Gandalf is there to kind of like hold the dragon off while they run away.
And also, like,
Well, and don't forget that you also need to somehow merge these worlds together.
Yeah, if anybody's going to do that, it's going to be Gandalf.
So from Middle Earth, they have to come here to go to Catherine the Great.
Gotta have Gandalf in there. We need either Gandalf or Dumbledore. That's for sure. Something like that. So I'm going to go with Gandalf is because I think Gandalf he's immortal almost. He's longer lived. Dumbledore is still not human, but he's still.
Yeah, Dumbledore can be a tricky person. I feel like Gandalf is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gandalf is he's got thousands of years experience and stuff. I think you got to go Gandalf if somebody's going to do that.
I would too. Yeah, probably.
So we got 4. We got Gandalf, Hermione, Boromir, and Bilbo right now. And Boromir's going to charm the code out of Catherine the Great. Gandalf's merging the world. Hermione is our go-to on pretty much everything about everywhere we're going.
Bilbo is a burglar, and he can sneak by you need a burglar to steal a vaccine as well.
Yes, it's true.
And get by the dragon. So
then we get the code, and I get that.
Do you get one more now?
Got one more now. Who do we put together in that one?
Do we have any more? Wait, this time travel, steal, heist, lover, dragon.
We got everything. We only need 4. But
I feel like we need someone from the Wizarding world.
Yeah,
because we only got Hermione at the moment.
Okay. How about we go with?
I got one.
Severus Snape.
Well, that's
Potions master.
I feel like he would be like him or Gan. I feel like he's like one of the grand wizards.
He is a grand wizard.
That sounds so weird again.
So, but I think he's got the potion master side too. That was something that Jiffy there always seems to be something you can use potion wise that will be able to help you out in many situations.
Or we need Professor Trelawney to read the.
Get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here. I don't count on that one at all. I'm going with Snape. That's what I'm doing. You can take whoever you want as your fifth.
Right. It feels like our crew would be we would be having a lot of arguments because there's not a lot of chemistry going on there. We've got abilities, but they will not be Boromir is like one of the worst because he's a cool character, but he's a very controversial person. We've got Snape, who's been a Death Eater, who can't reveal his true intentions. We've got Hermione, who's super smart and intelligent, but can be difficult and prude. We've got Bilbo, who is kind of a loner, wants to be in his hole.
True.
So
that's
a recipe for a disaster.
I feel like we can make it work though, because Snape will do whatever has to be done. That's what I like about it.
So I have an idea.
Go ahead.
To combat that.
Okay.
Molly Weasley.
She's the mom and takes care of us all. Takes care of all the adventures during the trip. I kind of like
Keeps
that.
Keeps it all together.
I kind of like
Keeps
that.
Keeps it all together.
Yeah.
And if Catherine ever screws up, she can go, that bitch.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. She has this awesome line, you that bitch.
Say whatever not my daughter, you bitch. Whatever. Anyway, so I like that. That's going to be our adventuring crew. I don't know if we're going to succeed or if we're going to fail miserably, but either way.
But what's Kim's list?
Yeah. So what was your final full list, Kim?
Well, I picked 7 because that was what we initially agreed on.
Okay, go ahead.
And I picked Hermione. She was my number 1, and then Gandalf, and then Legolas. But you guys kind of changed my mind on that one because you're right. He is sort of aloof. And as far as lovers go, I mean, he's hot, and I think he's hot. But yeah, I picked McGonagall.
That's a choice.
Hagrid, Molly, and Sam. And
Yeah,
I
you
picked,
do need a Sam.
yeah, I picked Sam to kind of, to keep the chemistry going
Mhm.
and to keep the bravery up and their morale and whatnot.
I like that. I do like that. That's probably better than ours. It usually is. That's all we can say
Mhm.
about that. But
We tried.
well, we tried. We tried. That's what a public defender does, though. What are you gonna do? Well, okay, Kim, thank you very much for that fun time. I'm going to put Kim back on the backstage, but she's not going away. If she decides she has something to say about our categories, she's going to give me a wave and she'll pop back on and say it. For now, and we'll bring her back on and say goodbye at the end, too. But for now, I'll talk to you soon, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay. So I just actually, she said bye as that was really bad. I said she was saying bye as I hit the thing, so she got. But I could cut her off. I cut her off. Only I could do that in real life. I'd be oh god.
Oh, you're gonna get in trouble.
now. Oh, I'm gonna do the death eye now. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Now let's get into our 5 categories. This is the meat of the show, is where we decide who's going to win Wizarding World or Middle Earth. And our 5 categories are actually very interesting this week. We'll come clean. We like to be straightforward. We had 5 categories, and then at 7:00 when we first got on, we decided that last one doesn't really work very well. I don't know what we can do, so we changed it, and we're going to try to do something a little different with it. But I will label our list now. We're going to have category number 1, better soundtracks and score. Category number 2, which one has the better prequel series? Hobbit versus Fantastic Beasts. Both are they're not exactly as well acclaimed as the other ones, as the original, like Lord of the Rings or the Harry Potter world. So, which one can be better suited to continue the story? 3, another interesting one. I initially meant this basically as Gandalf versus Dumbledore, and I threw out together without even thinking about what it meant. I just said better mentor wizard, and both Kim, when I told her about it, went completely on the mentor side. And now, Richard, you're telling me something about the mentor side. So all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I guess we got to go with mentor side, because they stuck their guns on a little thing that I put down, like off the cuff again. I love that word. I love that. This is all about off the cuff. So you guys went with it. So I guess I got to stick with it now. So better mentor wizard, Gandalf or Dumbledore. Better number 4, the better villain.
Better number 4. Which really has the better number 4?
Well, it'd be interesting. That'd be Hobbit versus Goblet of Fire. Oh, that's a totally different time though. 5, better explosion of emotion.
Yes.
Can we tell them what we initially had? Yeah, well,
sure.
I'm going to say it. We used to have better grouping of heroes, but that got to be a problem in terms of whether it was too broad or too narrow. You could either have like the trio, but then there's so many more Lord of the Rings. Then if you expand out Harry Potter and you expand out more Lord of the Rings, it got to be like basically what's the better one, which one's better. So it kind of like defeated the purpose of what we're going for. So we'll go with the old standby. Better explosions of emotions throughout the franchise. So without further ado, let's get right into category number 1. We have better soundtrack or score. You got Howard Shore on one side. On the other side, you got the GOAT, John Williams.
That's right. The greatest of all time versus...
And you say it again, I'm going to kick you out. Yeah.
Versus John Williams.
You're gonna earn just marks against you. Like everybody's going to start turning on you, I think. Howard Shore versus the GOAT, John Williams, but also Patrick Doyle, Nicholas Hooper, Alexander Desplat, and James Newton Howard. And of course, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack also have those songs at the end as well. Enya does one, Annie Lennox, Neil Finn. We'll get into those as well. I will start off and say right away, I'm going with Howard Shore. Despite me talking about the GOAT, despite me talking about John Williams so much, we had this argument last week. We even had an argument right now. I love me John Williams, my favorite composer of all time. John Williams only did 3 of these, and he set some great themes.
Well, his theme is used throughout the entire thing.
Right.
Yeah.
The theme is used throughout the entire thing. But Howard Shore has so much in depth in all these 6 films that I consider it the second greatest score of all time behind Star Wars.
Exactly. Me too. 100% on board with you. Exactly. Same feelings. Yep.
I hear this score and it brings me back exactly where it is. Exactly where I am whenever I watch Lord of the Rings. It's such brings me into this world so much. And then not only that, a few of those songs are top-notch songs. Annie Lennox's song Into the West is beautiful. And I gotta tell you,
Enya's Made B,
and his may be, but the one that gets me all the time,
Billy
Billy
Boyd.
Boyd's "The Last Goodbye."
Yes.
And it's not necessarily even just the song. It's like the choice,
I know, it's the message.
the
It's the
message,
final song. It's everything.
song. It's the choice of bringing Billy Boyd, who wasn't even in the Hobbit films.
Nope.
He has the voice and he sings in Lord of the Rings. It was like this. It was like this comforting voice, like welcoming, neighborly voice. Like it felt like home again. You're like, oh, Billy Boyd's back, and he sings this nice song. They had all these like montages to it. It's such a simple, beautiful song, but I can't even argue for Harry Potter at all. Harry Potter, I'm kind of like, oh, good songs, good music, good song. Lord of the Rings really made me feel. And that's what it came down to.
100% on board with you. I'll say it from the top. It's like that goes to Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And you said it. You said the right thing. That one of my deciding factors are the soundtracks that are at the end of the movies. And one of my favorites is Ed Sheeran's "Icy Fire." I love that. I love that song to bits. But again, like Billy Boyd, like saying goodbye to everyone with the compilations, with the montages. That's everything. And Lord of the Ring. Harry Potter, like John Williams' score. It's very magical. It like transcends the movies and gives it a whole new vibe as well. But like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, it's so much more powerful, grander. It makes the world feel bigger. Like I do like to say it, but it's so true. Like the music is its own character in the movies. It absolutely is. I know I use that every time, but it's so true.
It is. And it's not to say I don't want to downplay the Harry Potter music.
Yeah,
it's very good. It's very good. And there's some emotional moments and there's some great movements. It's just not quite. I mean, it's like saying it's great, but it's not legendary like as much as Lord of the Rings is for me.
I agree.
And if I'm saying John Williams loses a battle, it's a damn good score it's into. So, all right, that one's easy to go. Then we both go to Lord of the Rings, and that's fine. So let's go to the better prequel series, Hobbit versus the Fantastic Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Both are considered not as great. Both have sloppiness.
I do like them both.
I don't.
I do enjoy them both.
I mean, I'm not going to be out here going like I hate them. Mm-hmm. But they are definitely they're both definitely lesser than the original part. Hobbit is definitely worse than Lord of the Rings, and Fantastic Beasts is definitely worse than Harry Potter. But so put them up against each other. Which one's better? Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I think I'll go first. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Why I'm giving this to Fantastic Beasts, surprisingly, is because the Hobbit movies tried very much to be Lord of the Rings, and they succeeded to some part. Like the problem with the Hobbit movies is they were rushed. They were incredibly rushed movies. The studio was on Peter Jackson's ass pretty much the entire time, and you can tell that it was rushed. But they do capture some of the magic of the first ones. But what I do love about Fantastic Beasts is that they took it to an entirely different direction. There was no Hogwarts. They were all new characters. Sure, they bring in Dumbledore, Jude Law's character, but they do something very different. It's a new setting. They're in New York, entirely new characters. I do like the effort and the risk that they take. Like how in Hobbit movies, it's they do what the books do, but you can tell that they try to do everything like Lord of the Rings, as in Fantastic Beasts feels like its own beast.
You really went there, didn't you?
There had to be a really bad pun to know that it's truly me here.
And there's Indiana trying to get out.
And I do love, well, actually, both movies have awesome main characters because why am I blanking on Bilbo? Martin
Freeman.
Martin Freeman does an amazing job, but wow, I'm so blanking. Like Newt Scamander?
Newt Scamander. Oh, I'm blanking on his character too. His name, actor.
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne, that's it. Yeah, Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne's Newt Scamander. Like that character, he's so adorable. He's so good in every way. He's so quirky. I know people kind of like he's too swarmy and weird, but I do love that about him. not so confident with people. But when you put him with the beasts and everything, you can tell that you can understand exactly why he's like that. And as someone who loves animals, I relate to that character so much.
That's fair enough. That's definitely fair enough. Okay, so you're going
I'm going
the
Fantastic
Harry
Beasts.
Potter, Wizarding Worlds. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm going Lord of the Rings. I'm going The Hobbit. And the reason why, I struggle with this a little bit because I always excuse The Hobbit, apologize for The Hobbit because of a couple of things. First of all, Peter Jackson wasn't supposed to direct it. It was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro.
Yes,
He didn't want to direct it. But when Guillermo del Toro had to drop out, there became a crunch in the schedule, not only just because the studio wishes, but because they were going to run out of they had a certain time they could make it. They were running up against that time. So when they're scheduling like that, they had no other choice but to do it. And I mean, Peter Jackson even said he came out, he was winging it a lot of it. Like he had such time to prepare for Lord of the Rings. Whereas on The Hobbit, he was like, he'd be on set shooting a battle and like plotting the next one, like the next moves out as he was doing it. Like, so he had, I mean, so it's amazing that this thing came together at all.
Yep.
To be honest with you. And I get some of the arguments against it. It's not as good. It's a little too slick. The computer graphics are a little weird at times.
Yeah, and the 48 FPS, like they did
Yep.
the frame rate thing, which looked kind of weird.
Yep, absolutely. But what I liked about it is that it had a difficult task of matching up The Hobbit, which is a child's book, very much a children's book, with The Lord of the Rings, which is a much more older crowd adult book. So matching the tones of those two disparate franchises into one universe was a tough sell to begin with. I like what they tried to do by adding in the storylines with the appendices of the Gandalf and Saruman and the Council and everything else. I loved those parts, and I thought it matched up very well with what we eventually got in Lord of the Rings. It wasn't perfect, no. And meanwhile, when they jump over to the Fantastic Beasts, they're kind of a mess. They kind of like seem to like try to like almost like undo things here and there. They're introducing the American side. It just seems like one of the worst offenders. I'm going to spoil this. So if you haven't seen the Crimes of Grindelwald,
that was not a good movie. I agree.
The ending of that, they have Ezra Miller's character introduced as Dumbledore's brother. Now, this is something where the franchise had a chance to correct itself or get better because there's still 3 films left. So it's hard to really give this a straight fail until we see the whole saga. But unless they come up with something out there to change this idea, like the whole idea we haven't heard of this character before. When Harry Potter goes into Dumbledore's background with his brother Aberforth, his sister Ariana, the Battle of Grindelwald, and we've never heard about this other brother. It seems like it's like trying to like retcon away things that is changing. It's trying to change the Harry Potter universe in a way. The Hobbit didn't do that. The Hobbit tried to connect. This almost seems like it's going against to a degree. And there's a lot of also, in addition to that, there's a lot of the old, we're going to sprinkle in these names that you know just because. A little bit of Lestrange, all Lestrange is going to be there. Oh, there's going to be Grindelwald. It's always like kind of like, oh, who's this person? Who's this person related to? Well, how is this person connected to the original? Hobbit didn't need to do that. It had Gandalf in it. Did have Legolas in that, which it didn't need, but that's one way they did it. But it wasn't as, I didn't think it was as overt. Legolas actually did make sense. That's where Legolas lived.
Yep.
Now, giving him more to do, a little much. I just think it seemed more earned in The Hobbit than it did in Fantastic Beasts. Fantastic Beasts just seemed like look at that stuff. It just seemed to be very sloppily done to me. I did like the characters. I want to see what's going to happen next. I do want to see. I want to watch to see what else unfolds. It just didn't work for me as a whole in compared to The Hobbit. So I got to go with The Hobbit. So,
Judge, overrule my decision, please.
Oh, you're changing it. You're changing. All right, we're going to.
You convinced me.
I convinced you. I love I could do that. And I did something good. All right, sweet. All right.
Because the second movie, it does fall apart.
That's what it is.
Like the first one, if it was just the first one, that'd be okay. But
I should say again. I'll say again though, it isn't incomplete until we really see that. We
can
change our mind if the 3 other ones course correct a little bit and maybe make good on what they did. But we can only talk about what we know.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Thorin at all, who is like my favorite character in the Hobbit movies. Thorin Oakenshield, such a great character.
Mm-hmm. He's very good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Hobbit.
Okay, good. All right, I'll go with that as well. Let's go on to the next one. And this is that weird category we talk about. I'm going to let you come on first. So I want to hear your categories in this. Better mentor wizard. I guess we're going to go Gandalf versus Dumbledore.
Yes,
Jarvi,
I
take
guess
it away.
so. I guess so. I think you already know where I'm going with this. All right, so Lord of the Rings, Gandalf. I think he might be one of the most badass characters in all of the Middle Earth series. Like perfect casting, perfect interpretation of the character, and he has the greatest movie speech in movie history, in my opinion. And I'll come back to that in another category. And he always has the right things to say. When everything gets super dark, he's always there to lighten the mood, to save it. So he sort of brings the tempo down. He slows things down. He gives us a breather. And he can kick ass. Like what he does in Return of the King. Wow. Like sword, cane, everything, using magic. He's like... No, I'm sorry. Someone was at the door.
That's okay. I'll take over.
I think I need to answer. Hold on. Okay. Can you take over for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. I can take over.
Sorry.
All right, I'll talk about mine. That's fine. It's a live show. It's a live recording. We have to do. Okay, better mentor wizard. I'll talk about this. I agree with what you're saying with Gandalf going as far as he kicks ass. He's very supportive. He's very. You're back. Okay, good. You got to continue. Go ahead.
I did the what was it? Barty Crouch or not Barty Crouch? He's back.
He's back. All right, continue where you were then. Where you were.
I was talking about Gandalf. But if we're going to Harry Potter, like Dumbledore is much more independent of a character. He changes, which I do like, and sort of it changes your perspective on the character. Because Dumbledore starts off as this, this all good, father figure who's out for Harry's greater good. But as the movies progress, you find out that he's actually, in a way, preparing Harry to die, which is not a bad thing. But you find out that he wants to do. He's sort of like Thanos in a way. He wants to do the great thing at the expense of maybe a few others. So when that change happens, and we find out, and when Snape dies, we find out that he was actually the person that we wanted Dumbledore to be. And at that moment, he became the mentor for Harry, and hence why Harry named his son after Snape and Dumbledore. But at that moment, like it's something we've never seen I've never seen in a movie or a book before, is how they flip a character like that and they completely redeem. Well, actually, Snape was never an all bad character, but the way they flipped the switch, I almost tear up when I think about what Snape had to do, how he was this like triple agent eventually, everything he had to do. And I am giving this one to Harry Potter because of Snape.
Okay, I think Kim, you want to come in on this? Do you want to come on this one, Kim? You do. Okay, I'll bring Kim on this, and now I'll talk about mine. Go ahead, Kim. Let's see what she's going to say about this. I know what she's going to say, but go ahead.
So yesterday when we were in the car and we were talking about this, I said the exact same thing, Jarvi, that Dumbledore is very self-serving. He pretty much raised Harry to be like a pig to slaughter. That's not a mentor. He's, when you think of a mentor, especially a mentor wizard, you think of wizards as being like, they're either good or they're Saruman. And Dumbledore is like gray. He's like neither of those things. And you can't really be a good mentor if you are not a good person, and I don't feel like Dumbledore is really, really a good person. So I actually said that Snape was a better mentor to Harry than Dumbledore was. And Paul said that was a hot take.
It is odd. So anyway, I'm going to interject real quick just because we talked about this in the generals chatter. The Extra Army generals have a chat, and I brought this up before. We've had talks about Snape before. I'm really curious as to what's going on in the chat right now because I know they're going to be having it, saying this is a hot take as well. But go ahead, continue with it. Go ahead.
Because I feel like Snape truly prepared Harry for what was to come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, throughout all of the books, he didn't coddle Harry. He didn't look at Harry as the boy who lived or the chosen one. He looked at him as somebody who was going to have to fight this battle. And he knew that he was going to have to fight this battle, and he prepared him to fight said battle. You know, he didn't do what Dumbledore did, which was basically lie to Harry the entire
Mm-hmm.
time. And
Well,
you know,
he trained him in like to fight the mind control thing. Like that's one of the coolest like montages in Harry. And I can't remember. Is it fifth or sixth movie? Fifth movie.
Occlumency.
Yeah, that was such a cool moment
the
when
fifth
he was
movie.
training Harry.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
But even outside of that, I mean, even outside of that, just the way that he treated Harry, and it just really, he's a better mentor than Dumbledore ever is. I just,
And you have to consider that he was doing it to the son of the love of his life, whose father treated him like utter shit. Like that's crazy. Like he had to repress. Well, he will suppress. He kind of, you know, he probably let some of it out when he was like punishing Harry in a way. But again, he had this greater goal in mind, and I think that's it's amazing.
Okay, I got something here before the chat explodes. I'm sure Snape is still a dick. That's not like cut corners. That's not cut corners here. Snape is a dick. He treats Harry like shit. Does it work? I mean, does he actually? I don't disagree that he does everything that Harry needs to have done, but he's not very comforting. Of course, there's no coddling in him at all, and maybe it's not necessary. But you kind of still feel bad as a mentor. You want to have somebody who at least like build you up instead of cutting you down. And he does a lot of cutting down. It's a lot. It's not. I can't even say it's tough love because it's not love at all. It's
in a way, it is. I think it is because there's still he's the connection to Lily still to Snape.
But he's also the connection to James.
That's true, but that's why there is love and hate in a way. But eventually he dies for him.
Oh, he does. No. I agree with that. I'm just saying as far as everything else that came up, like he did almost everything else to spite Harry. Anyway, he was trying to kick him out of school half the time. He was trying to. I mean, he's not exactly. I guess what I'm saying is when at the biggest level, yeah, Snape did everything right, but like on all the other levels, I mean, like he was. I don't think if Harry had like quit school and went off and been a bartender, Snape would have been like, that's fine. Fuck it, I don't care. Like I go to as long as he stays safe, like he keeps him alive.
Make some potion shots.
From that. Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. So I mean, it's not exactly. I mean, he doesn't want the best for Harry. He just feels his duty to protect him. It's more of a protection role than a mentor role per se. Which is funny. We're actually supposed to be discussing Gandalf versus Dumbledore pretty much in a way, but we're not. We're talking about like Dumbledore versus Snape now in a way, and we're totally off the trails here. So I will throw in there real quick that I gotta say Gandalf's side. I think Gandalf is a great mentor because Gandalf is very supporting, is very kind. He's very smart. He's very stern when he needs to be. Peregrine, fool of a took.
His fireworks
and his speech to Peregrine at the end. Also, I mean, the famous speech we're going to talk about later on. There's a lot of love there, a lot of power, and he's teaching Frodo the whole way through. You know, the whole scene when Frodo talks about Frodo goes, like, I wish Bilbo had killed him if he had the chance. I would have killed him if he had the chance. And he's like, or pity, or something like that. And Gandalf's like, pity's what stayed his hand. Everybody deserves to die. Can you give them that death? Whatever is it's your choice. He's
who are you to and he says being courage is knowing when to take life and when to spare it. What a great line.
Gandalf is my mentor by far. Better than Dumbledore and Snape combined. Maybe there'd be a good side to it, or maybe. But when it comes to Larry, if we're gonna put Harry Potter Wizard versus the Lord of the Rings mentor, I gotta go Gandalf.
I just think the Snape has to go through more underneath. You know, Gandalf can be who he is without concealing anything. That's why I'm giving this to Harry Potter and Snape.
You give it to Harry Potter, okay?
Mhm.
I mean, and let me say real quick, I love Severus Snape. Severus Snape is one of my
I
favorite
do get
characters
that.
of all time for exactly everything you guys are talking about. He's a one of the bravest heroic characters in literature and film, but he's a dick. so but I will give it to Lord of the Rings, and you're gonna give it to Harry Potter. That's fine.
Well,
you
Gandalf
go.
does have the moment where Gandalf the Grey is what they used to call me. Now I'm Gandalf the White.
Yes,
It's
that's
like,
true.
wow, that's super weird.
Uh,
I'm better now because I'm white. Like, what?
That's definitely more of its time, maybe. I don't know if that's
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I kid.
but anyway, what we got? You want to stay on for best villain, Kim? Can you discuss best villain, or do you want to go back?
No, I'm good. I want
You
to
good?
just keep watching you guys. Yeah.
Okay. I'll bring you back on to say goodbye. All right, see you later. All right, better villain there. You got Voldemort versus Sauron. And to me,
right.
I'll take this if you don't mind. I'll take it right away.
Yeah, go ahead.
This
Go
is
ahead.
easly hands down. This is Harry Potter for me. Sauron is
Interesting.
a cool character, but he's not even a character. He's a big red eye. You don't really see him. You only see him a little bit in the flashbacks and everything else. He's basically, this is the symbol of evil, and he's very powerful. He can probably kick Voldemort's ass, but he's not as interesting a character. So the better villain, the better character role, you get to learn about Tom Riddle's background, learn about how Voldemort came to be. You get to see exactly where his motivations lie, his faults, his weaknesses, his strengths. You get to see the whole thing develop. You get to see where love is his downfall. He can't feel love and everything else. Sauron just kind of like blanket antagonist. He's like the archetype of villain in a way.
Can I argue with you a little bit?
You would always argue with me. You'll lose, but you can always argue with me.
This is where I would say that we said better villain, and we didn't say Sauron versus Voldemort. We said better.
We're gonna pull this one again. I gotta get more specific.
So there's Lurtz, who is an awesome fucking henchman of a villain in Fellowship. We have Saruman, who you could say is
absolutely
the Voldemort of the Lord of the Rings movies. And we have in the Hobbit movies the Pale Orc, which is so Sauron in a way is all of these villains. He is this, like completely, like, I agree that there's no character. There's just an evil eye that just wants to destroy everything. Whereas Voldemort, he's actually a personality, and he might have some redeeming qualities about him, which, well, I don't think we really see any redeeming qualities in the movies, though, do we?
Like,
no. I mean, like Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Well, he's like a genius at what he does. But is there ever a moment where there's like, some? Well, actually, no. He does help. What's the hamster guy? Jesus, I'm sorry, Kim. The Scabbers.
I'm pointing to see if you can come up with it.
No, it's like
Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, Pettigrew. There you go.
I like watching you stumble around. That's all.
I'm an expert at Harry Potter. All right. Just please let me do my thing.
You do you.
He does grow his hand back though.
Okay.
Gives him a silver hand.
I don't buy that.
Oh my god! I
think the only thing,
the worst joke ever.
The only thing I would ever throw Voldemort's way, you do get to see him a few times as a young boy, so maybe there's sympathy for him in a way because.
But even then, there's nothing really. Even if we see him as a young dude, he's all evil pretty much.
I mean, he's just a kid. He's still evil, but he's. You're not wrong.
He's like in Omen. He's like the kid. He feels like.
But he's more relatable than
that's
Sauron
true.
is. And that's where I'd go with that. At least that aspect of it.
I know I'm cheating, and I'm giving it to Middle Earth, but that's Sauron controlling everyone. He is all these villains and all these characters, and like honestly, I think my favorite villain is Lurtz. which is weird because that's not even a character at all, but the way you hate him the most, you do think he kills Boromir. He looks disgusting. He's huge. It's and eventually his head gets chopped off, and you're like, yes, that's a fist bump moment.
But it's also one film, though. It's also one villain.
It is, but
film.
I don't know why he has this lasting effect on me.
I don't know either. You gotta get that checked out, I think.
You got the Lurch syndrome.
Lurch syndrome. I will say also, you also threw me for a loop. You're cheating by saying better villains. We could have changed the category better villains, and I could have gone more in depth. But I can because I know the film's enough. I can go in. I would argue that Harry Potter also has other cool villains. Jason Isaacs as Lucius Malfoy is a good fun
but
villain.
is that really his best villain?
That's definitely not his best villain. I know Lord Tavington is a much better villain than the Patriot. Damn him, damn that man.
He doesn't say that though.
I know he doesn't, but that's when I think of Jason Isaacs, I think of that of him.
I think of him as shaving with his head down in the stream.
That's good too. Yeah, that's good too. That's another good one.
And the gun flip.
We're gonna get
into
the Patriot. We have to do the Patriot at some point. I have to put the Patriot.
Stupid boy.
But we do have Malfoy, and we have Draco Malfoy as a villain. You got Pettigrew.
He's not a villain though. He redeems himself completely. Have you read this?
Yeah, I've read that. I put that with Fantastic Beasts, basically. It's a little weird.
Wait, do I have admin rights here?
No, you don't. I made sure you didn't. How about, but also you have Bellatrix. Cool villain.
Just cool.
So I think, and you got all of that,
like
put all those together. I gotta go with Harry Potter villains overall. They're much more defined as characters, whereas the evil in Lord of the Rings is much more archetype character.
I think I like creatures. I think I like creatures more is what it comes down to. They're more fantastical and, not like going to say beastly.
Fantastic Beast?
I'm not going to say it. That was you.
That was me. I did. So either way. All right, well, then you go that way and I'll go that way. That's where we are. So that means we're down to our final one, which is
yes, sir.
I think this is kind of a cheat category. I'll say this on the air. It is a cheat category for us, but I feel like it's going to become almost a standard category because it's our favorite thing to talk about. It's our explosions of the motion / fist bumps. We just want to talk about what the best fucking part of the movies are. That's why we're here, right? I mean, really,
this is why we love action movie anatomy. This is why we love Ben and Drew. It's like fist pump is the staple of action movie anatomy, and we're totally stealing this.
We're totally stealing the bet.
Yeah. And for good reason. It's awesome.
It is. But which one has the better ones? Because they both have so many good moments. We could sit here for another hour, double the length of this episode, just talking like our favorite sequences from all these movies.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have to limit ourselves a little bit. We're trying to limit ourselves down. Even in the chat, you can start throwing some of your own in there, even though I can't see it. I wish we do this live. I'd love to see other people's takes as well. But let's throw like 3 out there for each, maybe. Just a quick 3 out there for each of them. But we'll go back and forth. Your first one for go Lord of the Rings first.
I'll go like I have a fist bump versus fist bump, and I have an explosion of emotion versus explosion of emotion. I'll do it that way. So in Lord of the Rings, my fist bump moment is, of course, Boromir's death. That's like, and not even the part where he dies, the part where he's fighting them when he's getting arrows shot into him, like these fucking huge arrows that are like. And just keeps fighting and totally redeems himself. And of course, that final moment when he's talking to Aragorn. Wow. That is,
That's you're getting into explosion of emotion at that point. If you're gonna go that route.
I do have a different one, but that's why I said like the fighting part, even when before he dies. That's like and I do like to copy Ben and Drew when they're talking about like I cannot unhear Aragorn's voice now. Like Boromir's like, give them a moment for pity's sake, and then Aragorn, they're taking the hobbits that way. We should follow them. Like, that's your hero, really? The track lead away from the fight.
I love being on board, but it is true. He does have that. He does have a voice that's not exactly
that Vigo voice.
That's Vigo voice. I'm going to throw a fist bump in there from Lord of the Rings. All right. We're going to go fist bump first fist bump. This is going to be one that's specifically for me, and it might not be one that people talk about a lot, and that's okay. I have a real affinity for Gimli. A big affinity for Gimli, one of my favorite characters. And one of my biggest fist pumps is Helm's Deep.
I should have picked a better spot.
Oh, that's what's going on out there? Bring them to me. The ladders come up. He's like, good, finally. But no, my best one was though. the bomb or whatever, the can goes up and the wall busts open. Aragorn gets knocked out. The elves are all like knocked down, and the army of darkness are like running to start enter the gate. Also,
and he's like,
Jimmy looks, he sees Aragorn down. Aragorn! He runs, and he just like jumps headlong like a mosh pit on top of the wall. And he falls down, and they're like, Aragorn's like, oh, shoot him now. He buys him just enough time to get that going, but it's such a great. I said, literally said, everybody, go Gimli.
Gimli is such an underrated hero.
Toss
me. I cannot jump that far. You have to toss me.
Just about to bring that up as well. So I have to probably from later on because it looks there. He's like, toss me. What?
You have to toss me.
Don't tell the elf. Don't tell the elf.
We dwarves are natural sprinters. Very dangerous at short distances.
Come on, we can take him. Come on.
That's a long way.
He's not dead. He's got my axe buried in
his central nervous system or something. Yeah.
I just go on all day. That's my big fist bump on those. I love that Gimli moment so much.
Yeah. Gimli's great. All right, then Harry Potter fist bump. I talked about it before, and I'm going to ask Kim again to say the name of the spell that McGonagall says at Deathly Hallows Part 2 when she brings the defender, like the Guardians down. What's it called?
Pure Totem Locomotor.
That's the one. And they like jump, like there's this amazing sound effect, like, and you just keep going, and she goes, I've always wanted to say that. Like that's yes. They've got their secrets too, and their army.
I like with these big movies, since I have so many fist bumps, I like trying to find the fist bumps that are not, they're kind of secondary, they're not mentioned as much as others. And so that's a good one too. My fist bump moment
is when Harry and Hermione are dancing.
That's it. I love it when they start dancing. They start making
Daniel Radcliffe cannot dance. Like, no, please, Daniel, awful. Don't ever dance again.
I dance better than Daniel Radcliffe, and that's not saying much. That's saying a lot, actually. I'm saying. My actually big fist bump moment was from Deathly Hallows is when Harry reveals himself in the Great Hall. I like that. Yeah. In the Great Hall, and he's
incompletum revealum.
Oh, that becomes.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm having a weird day.
That becomes a totally different kind of movie. That's all I got to say. When Harry Potter reveals he's in Hogwarts because Snape is there as the headmaster, and they have that stare down the face to face when Harry's like, "How dare you stand there where he stood?" and everything else, and Professor McGonagall actually comes and blocks, gets in the way, and started blocking him. Starts like she's finally gonna stand up for him. Like, this is them more doing it, and then it continues, and it goes McGonagall versus Snape. And what happens? McGonagall starts throwing curses at Snape. Still, Snape is a genius. Bats away McGonagall's curses into the other Death Eaters, so they can't. They're out of the fight. They're knocked out completely, and it makes it look like he's just fighting. Boom, boom, boom. He's still thinking ahead, like, how can I protect them? How can I make this work? I'm supposed to be the bad guy. They don't even know I'm doing this, and I get chills thinking about, like, that's a big fist bump.
I got chills too,
right there.
I got chills too.
Fucking Snape, man. Fucking Snape is awesome. That's a big fist bump moment though for that.
Yeah.
So that's one I'll pick. So how about you pick your explosion of emotion?
All right. So Harry Potter, we talked about it. It's the Snape moment. It's the Snape moment. It's the tear was taking the tears, and when everything gets revealed to us, when Snape dies, that's my explosion of emotion moment. We see these cutscenes of him and Lily and him and James and everything. Is sort of when it all comes together. That's such a powerful moment.
I agree. I'd want to take that one myself for explosion motion for Harry Potter, but I will throw a different one in there since you gave me one that I like, even though it ended up being not false is the wrong word, but it's false-ish in a way, when Snape kills Dumbledore and sends him off the edge, and then Harry just like goes completely primal and starts trying to chase down Snape before he escapes, and he's like fighting him, like, "Fight me, you coward!"
Yeah,
and Snape's not doing anything, and it's just a real primal energy of emotion. I get really like tied up in it.
That's like rage.
It's like completely full of rage, and early I'm all in for it because I understand that he just saw Dumbledore die. His in his mind at the time, he's confirmed everything he ever thought against Snape, even though Snape was bad, bad, bad. They'd finally kind of accepted that he was on the good side, and then this happens, and he's like completely betrayed. It's just a full, powerful emotions there. It's a big range of emotions there that I really, really, really got into at that moment. But yeah, that one. And a similar one, I'm going to cheat and do a little similar one. End of Order of the Phoenix had a similar one with when Sirius passes.
That's what I wanted to talk about. That's almost like a holy shit moment, because I want to talk about that scene for a second. It's like such a great fight up until that part. They're like, he's like back to backs with Sirius, or sort of there's no soundtrack, which I love, and they're just going like no words either. That's like, they're like great wizards, so they don't need to say the shit.
Right.
Going like, and it's like silence, and she goes, does she even go? Does she say it, or does she just like?
Yeah, she's like Avada Kedavra.
Okay.
Kedavra.
And there's also, like silence.
Sirius says, "Nice one, James." And calls him his father's name really briefly. Just really briefly. It's like
I totally forgot about that one.
But, no, but I get it. Sirius passes, and then but again, it's the same rage. He goes after Bellatrix so hardcore until Voldemort shows up, and then that whole thing goes down.
I think that's when Harry actually uses Crucio on Bellatrix.
He tries to.
Yeah.
He's like, you got it. And then Voldemort's like, you got to mean it. You can't do this without really going for it. And it didn't work as well. Then but he still does it. He does it, but it's not quite as good as like he would be if he was full on side.
God, that movie's so great.
That end part there. So
like think about I always think about like Harry Potter is the more child-centered, but if you think about all these dark things that happen, like Harry trying to use Crucio, how to pronounce it? Crucio.
Yeah.
That's like super dark. He's using the forbidden spell.
I want to tell you, by the way, Kim's giving you the thumbs down. Kim does not like Order of the Phoenix.
Oh,
she does not like the fifth movie. She's like,
do you want to hate me even more? Like my favorite Harry Potter movie is Goblet of Fire.
Oh, Goblet. That's not...
I don't know why, but I just love the Triwizard Tournament. I love.
You know what, dude?
Yeah.
That is another one of my emotional moments that I considered was the end when they bring back Cedric's body, and there's that moment where like everybody's like, "Oh shit, this is real."
For a second, it's like this like music, everyone's yay, but he's crying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, goosebumps again. Oh, well, okay. Let's go back.
We didn't talk about the biggest moment of all, though.
Go ahead.
In Lord of the Rings, I mean,
we haven't done our emotion explosion for Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to take this one first. So it's Sam. To me, it's Sam at the end, Fredo. They had this big touching moment, big powerful moment. They're laying on the field, laying on the rocks of Mount Doom. And funny thing, I can't smell anything in strawberry fields.
Only the Ring of Fire.
The
Ring of Fire.
And Sam takes him up. Well, come on! I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. He puts him up, and I cry every single time. I'm like, that's.
And then
so
that
funny.
fucking Gollum jumps on them and
ruins it all. But that is my explosion of emotion for Lord of the Rings and probably of the whole franchise. So that is mine. Do you have a second one you want to highlight since we are talking about? Because I know there's one that you want to highlight.
There's a scene that I keep watching, and it was also my father's favorite scene, and we both sort of like, I don't know, it's just like brought this calmness over us, is when Gandalf and Pippin are talking, and they're about to.
That's my second one.
They're about to enter, Minas Tirith. Everyone's like, Pippin goes, I didn't think it would end this way. And then Gandalf goes, and no, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. And this music comes on, and he talks about heaven. And I'm not religious, but there's something so calming, soothing, the way he says it. And it's so true. Like, death is just another path, one that we all must take. That is like such beautiful words and so true. Even if you're religious or not, everyone dies. And he says it with such, I don't know, serenity.
the end there. When
Right?
Pippin says, like, he was like, that doesn't sound so bad. And Ian McKellen just has this so wisest man in the universe look at us. No, not so bad at all. It's just so comforting. Like
It is.
everything
It is.
going on. It's so beautiful.
It makes you
so
sort of.
powerful.
It makes you like the losses in life makes you sort of accept and you're at peace with the losses that you've had. Like everyone's lost someone. I don't know, but that always helps me feel better. That
I agree.
Yeah, it transcends the movie, that moment for me, and it's my most favorite movie speech of all time. That moment.
I don't fault you for that at all. I will say there now we have to decide though which one has better.
Well, I just said it.
That's what you say, Lord of the Rings.
That's
Okay.
like by far the greatest moment.
I will say for explosions of emotion, I think Harry Potter might have more, but Lord of the Rings are far, far deeper and far more powerful. And this is coming from someone who does. I cried at Harry Potter too, but
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings does touch me in a deeper way that I can't even really fathom. It's a very powerful, powerful sequence. So I'm going to have to give it to Lord of the Rings as well.
mm-hmm.
So we're done. And I'm going to reveal this now. The generals were very happy.
I don't know what the generals wanted to happen.
Winning 8-2 is Lord of the Rings.
No,
Middle-earth.
but Kim's probably not
Middle-earth.
happy.
I don't know. I'll have to see what she says. But oh, no, I will bring her in a second. I will say the generals all basically to a T said, if Harry Potter wins, we're gonna rebel. We're gonna riot. That's basically what they said. They like Harry Potter, but they said Lord of the Rings is better. I don't want to bring Kim. You want to come back out and say what's your reaction to this? Yeah, I'm good. Kim, what's your reaction to this? This Lord of the Rings beating Harry Potter 8-2.
I'm down with it because I pretty much agree with you guys on all of the categories. Explosion of emotion, I think that I still would go with Snape.
Mm-hmm. I do get that.
That's my favorite scene in probably any movie ever. But as I was thinking about this, when PLD was giving me the categories, I was like, yeah, I go Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I go Lord of the Rings. Yep, I'd go Lord of the Rings with that one too. Harry Potter movies are my go-to. They're my happy movies, but Lord of the Rings are the ones that give me the chills.
Yeah, that's very well put. That is like perfectly put. And that's so true. Like I watch Harry Potter movies during Christmas because I like this sort of, it has a Christmassy feel. And like if you watch the Lord of the Rings movies, you're like, you have to prepare yourself for, a lot of, they're heavy movies.
Beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing. Well, that is it, folks. We have done it. We have determined that Lord of the Rings is better than Harry Potter, at least in this circumstance.
And we lost her.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone that far. Just in this circumstance, I'm saying in this circumstance with these categories, that's what we decided. So, all right, Kim, do you want to? Where can people find you if they want to find you, or do you not want to be found? That's up to you.
I don't want to be found.
Okay, that's probably good. You want to talk to you can talk to me and all that. You're fine. Respect. Okay. I love it. Mystery. It's a mystery.
Yes, it is.
All right, Jarvi, what do you want to plug?
I want to plug our show. Come watch us weekly on Action Industries. You can. I wonder what our first episode. No, we should probably release one of our test episodes just at some point, just for fun, just so people could see what a mess it was.
Oh God.
But yeah, we've got. Which episode is this? Like 20 or something?
Something to that
number, something like that. Yeah, 26. Yeah. Number 26.
That's right. 26 weeks we've been at this.
Yeah, there's not much for me to plug because the other stuff I'm doing in Estonia. So what I would say is go watch PLD Views.
There you go. Thanks. You just do it for me. All right. Well, yeah, you can find me on PLD Projects where I do PLD
Projects.
Views.
Shit, sorry.
That's all right. PLD Views is my show on PLD Project where we talk about one of my favorite shows of all the time. But also you can find me. Well, we're going to be beginning. I'm actually going to be beginning the Harris-tance on PLD projects soon as well. We're going to be breaking down Ed Harris's career. We're going to make you love him like I love him, which is probably impossible. But I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to go through all of Ed Harris's feature films with reviews, talk about Ed Harris's character, things of that nature. That's going to come out probably the next week or two, maybe three, depending on a couple of things. I got to make some things work. But you'll also find me on Call to Action, movie trivia Schmodown after show, and Chill to Action. We do a weekly interview on that. And you can always find me on Twitter at Paul_DiNuzzo. Click a like, click subscribe, comment, let us know what you want us to do next. We don't have next week's schedule, but we can actually, do you want to announce our end of the month show we've had penciled in?
Yeah, it's something we're planning. We want to bring on Eddie Green.
Eddie Green.
He's doing Eddie 101, his podcast. And I had a chat with him. He was interviewing me for his podcast, and we started talking Tony Scott movies. And we pretty much rediscovered that we were both in love with his movies. And we figured that we would do a top 10 episode of Tony Scott movies, and we would have on Eddie Green. So we still have to work out the scheduling, but he said he would love to be on, and we just need to find the perfect time.
Hopefully we can do that one of our live shows. We'll have to see if
that's right.
Work out from. I actually started doing my Tony Scott rewatch, or some of it first time watching. Just watched The Hunger, which is like his debut.
I've never seen that either.
It's not very Tony Scottish at all. It's very different, but it's kind of cool though. So, and of course, that scroll at the bottom says at patreon.com/Team Action, because that's the Action Industries channel we are on. I'm going to plug that. Get on that. Support our boys. Support this channel. It's wonderful. And that's it though. So we love you guys. Thank you. We will see you next week. Take care. Court is adjourned. I almost forgot the last bit. Court is adjourned. Where's Slide?
So close.
So close to getting it through. Bye. I love you guys. I'm going to get out of here before I screw anything up.